Excellent. And enjoying another hot one today. Man, it was
what, 105 is all? Not too bad, right?
Yeah. There was a breeze, so it made it tolerable.
I knew it was hot when I was looking at somebody wearing a hoodie, and I started sweating just looking at them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Man, speaking of hot off the press, man, today's a big day.
Yeah.
We come off of a great day yesterday, working with Verbs and Petity, of course, Dan. Working with Jordan from Texas Tech, and then Dustin kicking us off. Today, man, we got two. Again, we always want to come back to softball as often as we can,
definitely.
as the evolution of the program grows, and we've got two aces, two diamonds on the show tonight, Dane. So we got first up, we've got Caylan Arnold. Y'all know her, amazing player playing for the Vibes, Florida State alum. Shout out Coach Lonnie says hi. On top of that, diving into analyst work, right, Dan? Like what you and I do.
Yeah, definitely. With two Women's College World Series veterans.
I love it, man. So talk about like great night. Talk about surrounding yourself and then still doing it and playing it and then commentating on it. As you always say, playing it and then commentating is two different things, and she does it both, right, Dan? So
yeah, definitely. It's great to listen to what she does and knowing the game inside, outside, backwards, and just feeling like you can close your eyes and still follow the game. That's when you know you're listening to somebody at the highest level. So I can't wait to hear what she's got to say.
Well, let's not waste any time. Let's get into it and bring on our friend Caylan Arnold. Caylan, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm so great. You guys, your words are so kind. Like, just, makes me tear up back here and listening to it. You're so sweet. But I'm great. How are you guys?
Amazing. Yeah, we're honored to have you on, Caylan. We've been following you for a long time, and we wanted to wait till the timing is right. And I got some questions for you. I think you're going to really appreciate. So I'm going to take the first one. Talking about commentating, playing pro with the Vibes. Just a great season of your life right now. But I'm curious if you take me back to the beginning, before commentating, before FSU, maybe even that first Little League team. When did you first pick up a bat and start playing in your life?
Oh gosh, my parents put me into t-ball when I was like, I think, 4 years old. So I've been, playing since basically I could walk and talk. Softball wasn't my first love though. Basketball was. So softball was kind of, what I did in the off season of basketball. So I was really, really into that, wanted to play basketball in college, and that changed my freshman year of high school. So, but I've had a bat and a ball in my hand since I was, 4 years old.
Wow. So 4-year-old Caylan smacking home runs. I can already see it now. So I'm curious. Some people know, some people don't. Do you remember the name of your first team? Just curious, but way back when.
Oh gosh. I don't remember the name of my first team. Unfortunately. I was born in Jackson, Tennessee, so West Tennessee. Okay. And it was a little, rec ball team out there. It was, co-ed, so it was boys and girls. Yep. That's all I really remember. I remember the park that I played at. I don't remember the name of it. My parents know the name of it, but I can't think of that right now. But yeah, it's crazy thinking back that far. Yeah. And that's a long time ago.
I got you. Go ahead, Dane.
I was just saying, and a lot of athletes and coaches we talk to say it seems so long ago, but at the same time, it seems like it was just a few years ago, because time grows real so fast. So when you said you played basketball, that was kind of your first love. What was it that about softball that made you just say, okay, this is something I want to do and pursue? What was it about softball that made you make that choice?
It's really funny because I moved, like I said, I was born in Jackson. I moved to East Tennessee, so Maryville, when I was a freshman in high school. So right after my fall semester of my freshman year. And like I said, still big on basketball, wasn't even going to try out for the softball team. And my mom made me. She forced me to.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. She said, I think she kind of tricked me, but she was like, oh, it'll be a great way to make friends, like at a new school, and you enjoy playing, so you might as well just do it. So I did, but I told the coach first day, hey, softball is not my number one thing. Basketball is my number one thing. If it conflicts, I'm always going to choose basketball. And he was okay with that. And I actually wasn't pitching. I was a center fielder and just a hitter. Yeah, center fielder and a hitter. And I was playing varsity, but our JV pitcher got injured and ended up having to have hip surgery. And so the coach was like, hey, can anybody pitch? And I was like, I mean, I pitched when I was 12. I can kind of throw a fastball. And he was like, that's good enough for JV. So that's what I did. And I ended up just really falling in love with it. And it was very natural for me. I could always throw hard. You didn't know where it was going, but I could always throw it pretty hard. And, you know, kind of the end of my freshman year, I loved it. I loved every minute of being on the mound. And I told my parents, hey, I want to start taking lessons. Like, I want to start taking this a little bit more seriously. I want to be really good at this. And that's something that, you know, my parents have always instilled in me is like, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it 100%. And that was what I wanted to start doing with pitching. So I started taking pitching lessons, and I was so far behind everybody else because, like I said, I wanted to be the best at it. So I had to work twice as hard. I mean, my poor dad, you know, was taking me to, we had a baseball, softball indoor at the high school, and he was taking me there like as soon as he got off work, and he's catching me, you know, in his work attire so that I could get, you know, some reps in almost every day. And, you know, that carried on until I eventually found a catcher. I started throwing a little too hard for him. And he was like, okay, yeah, I can't do this anymore. We got to find you a catcher. So I found someone who was willing to meet me there basically every day. And it was from then on, you know,
man. And we both our daughters pitch, and we love watching it. And it's like there's such a deep level of mechanics and practice and daily thing. And I like how you said that 12U. It's interesting. It is true nowadays. 12U is late in the game. You know, I think Sid, your daughter Dane, started at 9. My daughter started at 9. It's like that's prepping your arm. So, and thank goodness the stud that you turn into. I don't know. I'm just glad that you're able to catch on so quickly. We get to see so many amazing games. Speaking of that, I think about when you look at your journey and your career, the pro pitcher, like that's so cool. First of all, take a moment and say that. Dane and I started this show to show that respect for women's athletics the way that they deserve. You're a professional pitcher, same category, same breath as you would like a pitcher from the Padres or Rockies. We're talking about that with you. That is so cool. That's how it's supposed to be. So pro pitcher doing your thing. I mean, analyst work, just right where you belong, right? Just it's being celebrated. All the influences that you now influence other people with, the young girls and the athletes that you influence. I'm curious to see though, what's been a big influence on you as an athlete or, you know, overall, who's been your biggest influence, if you will, you know?
Gosh, that's kind of a hard question. There's been so many people who have, you know, influenced me at different points in my life. Definitely my parents. I think they have just always been there for me in every season of my life and my softball career. And, you know, definitely my dad, like I said, he never said no when I asked him if he could catch me or, you know, just be there with me, take me somewhere, never said no. They made so many sacrifices for me to be able to play at the level that I'm at. And I'm so grateful for them. So, I mean, they were a huge influence in my life. You know, another big influence in my life from a pitching standpoint, someone I looked up to is Amanda Scarborough. I mean, I think she really, for me, like I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day. And I think she, you know, most of the time when you see pitchers throwing at like the level that I played at, you know, they're 5'10", 6 foot, you know, you think of the Montana Fouts and Kat Sandercox and, you know, those tall girls. And that's not me. I'm considered a shorter pitcher. And so Amanda, I think really kind of broke that barrier for me. Like, hey, I can be, you know, 5'6" and throw 70. Like that's something that I can do. I've watched her and this is how she did it. And so that's what I'm going to do. And then I think most recently in my life, the biggest influence has been Coach Alameda, Coacha, as we affectionately call her, Coacha. She is by far one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met in my entire life. The way that she expanded my knowledge of the game is incredible. Like she asked me when I transferred there, what is your biggest weakness? And I said, my softball IQ. I don't understand the game. You know, I've always been the type of player where you tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. No questions asked, where I should have asked questions and said, why are we doing this? You know, what's going on? Why are we shifting? Why does this batter swing like How am I going to beat them? And that's something that she taught me. She would have, weekly meetings with me and some of the other players where we would watch old softball games, and she would, hit the pause button and say, okay, what do you see here? What are you seeing from this batter? Why are we shifted here? What are we looking for to get this out? And then, I'd have to respond, and I'd be like, this, maybe, I think so. And, but through that, and honestly, it's one of the main reasons too, why I'm so comfortable now as a broadcaster, because of her and because of how much she taught me just about the game as a whole, and not just from the pitching perspective, obviously pitching, because that's, her forte and mine, but just about the game as a whole. And then just the impact that she's had on my life just in general. She sent, she texted me and said, hey, if I was gonna, send you something, where would I send it? And so I have a new address. I just moved. So sent her my updated address, and she sent me a little bag, like a swag bag with like just FSU gear and like all this cool little stuff, and a note, that said, we're so proud of you playing in the pros. Like, we're watching you, your Florida State family is supporting you. And just, just who does that? Who does cool stuff like that? Like, and so she by far has been the most impactful recently.
I'm thinking, and we had her on, and she's a sweetheart. I'm telling you, it's cool that I think about her, Coach G. We work with the Gas, so it's interesting how the top deck coaches are the sweetest people on earth. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. And then it's an extension of, honestly, when I talk to you, you have a obviously great success and people know you worldwide. It's neat how the more successful that you guys are, the more down to earth. I don't know. There's something about it. It's just, there's a intangible thing. So I could see that. I kind of thought you might say that once. So shout out to her. We actually interviewed her from Canada. She's doing a camp. Hey, I'm cool. I'm just kicking it in the hotel and just, took time and just as cool as can be. Like, it's like you're talking to your big sister, So I love it. So
honestly,
yeah, that's cool. Love it. Then go ahead, man, with 4. That's awesome. So.
Well, before I get to 4, I would just want to know, when you made that transition to the pros and pitching, I mean, it's not just softball as a game, you're stepping up another level. What was the transition like for you going from those college days into the pros?
It was actually very difficult for me. And, everybody's experience is different. Sometimes you see people go into the pros and they just, are killing it right away. But for me, it was more about trusting myself and like my preparation, and then kind of figuring out who I am as a pitcher when I don't have a pitching coach. And, I don't have somebody there who's helped prepare me for the game, for the people that I'm about to face. Like, I have to do that on my own. And so I think that was the most challenging for me. And so, I've played overseas a little bit. So I went to Italy right after I graduated and played there for a little bit. And then, next go around, I ended up playing with Athletes Unlimited in their shortened season, AUX. And that was so challenging for me, just because that's a whole new level of competition. I mean, like, you're obviously, I played at the highest level in college, but now when you get to that level, it's like, okay, the best people who are on the teams at this level are now all on a team together. And now you're facing them. So it's like you're facing 1 through 4 over and over and over and over and over again. And so you have to be really, really on top of your game. And my first 2 outings were really bad. And I remember I went into the bathroom after the game and was just bawling. I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done? I should have quit when I was ahead. This is crazy. And I called my dad, and, he was like, okay, well, you have 2 choices. You can finish this season and never play again. And, that be it, and just move on with your life. Or you can go back to your preparation, go back to your training and what you've learned how to do, and you can adjust. And when you get another opportunity, adjust. And so obviously, that's what I was like, okay, yeah, that's what I got to do. And so I went and I watched all of the pitchers who are similar to me, like what I throw. So me and Rachel Garcia throw a lot of the same pitches. Me and Georgina Korick throw a lot of the same pitches. And so I went and I watched them pitch against these hitters. And I took notes of every pitch that I thought they threw, what worked, what didn't work, tried to keep track of the strengths and weaknesses of the hitters that I was facing. And then after that, it was a whole new ball game. And unfortunately, it was a shortened season. So, I mean, I only got two more opportunities after that, but both of them were great. Nobody scored, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nobody scores at that level. Nobody scored, and I was so excited. And I mean, Danielle O'Toole even, complimented me after my last outing, and she's like, "You did really, really great." And that's when like you actually did good. Is when Danielle O'Toole like comes up, and that's a huge compliment. From someone of her caliber. So.
Rare praise. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes,
definitely.
And so I was very excited about that, and just so proud of myself, that I didn't just like sit down and be like, okay, well, maybe I'm just not good enough. And I adjusted and did what, Coach had taught me to do, watching film. And like I said, everybody's different, and that's just what I needed. That's what I needed to do. And so it gave me the confidence to then, when the Vibe asked me to play with them, say, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do it for sure. And I want to.
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did. Would not want it to be another way.
And watching you play now, I mean, it looks like you have a lot of confidence that you even had back when you were playing in Florida State and, like I say, in college. So now that your season's going with the Vibe, what do you see now coming up, like in the off season? Are you looking to do more broadcasting, do more games? Or are you what are the next 6 months to 12 months look like for you as you go through your career now?
Yeah, well, I'm getting married in October.
Congrats.
So
Let's go.
Congrats. Thank you.
Congrats. Awesome.
Thank you. So that's the number one priority kind of right now is planning all the wedding stuff and making sure all that.
Can we live stream it just real quick? I'm kidding, but can we live stream it?
We'll do play by play. We'll play by play.
So she's walking down the aisle. There's the ring. Here comes the ring bearer. Let's go.
Yeah,
awesome.
I would love it. Cool. That would be amazing. Oh my gosh, that'd be so funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
So but that's happening. Yeah, no, that's happening in October. And then after that, even kind of in that span, like I said, I'm working with a broadcasting coach. So that'll start this week, actually. So it's a 6-week program, and she's just going to basically work with me on my weaknesses and help get my name out there, and send me out on interviews and different things like that. Because I would like to do this, more full time, because right now I just work for the universities, which is great, but I would like to be hired by a network eventually.
Yep.
And so going to be working with her, trying to, better my craft, and then definitely going to continue doing Florida State softball. I did North Carolina softball, would love to do that again.
I saw that.
Also, Tennessee baseball, which is, was newer for me this year. Baseball was that was different. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I didn't have, too many negative comments.
Oh man.
So, never. Which was good. I know people are going to be tough. People are going to be rough on you, especially when you're a woman talking about a man's sport. Not always going to be super happy about that. But anyways, it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. And I loved seeing just all the differences, between the two sports. Like there really are so many differences between the sports. And I loved getting just a completely different perspective on the game, from the men's side. It was really cool.
I think as I go into this, Dane, so I gotta stop right there. The reason we started doing this, and I want to give you a shout out. I love it that what we do, what we celebrate, we feel there shouldn't be, in our opinion, and while we've done this, whether it's yourself, a male or female, athletes, commentators, to us, it should be, the respect is the same. So thank you for doing that, kind of taking on that role. I love it that you did baseball, other sports as well. Again, shout out to you, as it should be. You should be celebrated just like any other male broadcaster. So I'm glad that you're doing that. I just had to take a moment and stop. That's what we believe in. We're all about that. You should have that same respect as anybody else. So shout out to you for doing that. I'm glad you're doing that, Caylan, first and foremost, So
definitely.
Love it.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I love breaking the barriers.
It's good. The ceiling. I love it. Again, we love it that you're doing things that, we talk a lot about, Dane and I, we say the sport's in good hands, right? And there's a history making thing. I almost feel like I say this a lot because I'm so passionate. I preach it. Like I said, God bless us with daughters, and we feel like female and male athletics should be the same. You're in this cusp of history. Think about this year for the World Series. The World Series was ranked right up there, right alongside of college football and basketball, as it should be. ladies sports, ladies athletics. Finally, I mean, I know we're coming along. It's finally there, and you're on that cusp of history. You're a broadcaster definitely. Now. You're coming off of just hot off the press of playing at Florida State, and now a professional player. Talk about history being made. You're now, and I'm not just saying that to be pandering. Think about the early days like a Babe Ruth and all that. You guys are part of that cusp of female athletics coming into their own like it should be. Isn't that crazy, Caylan? You know,
it's so crazy to think about. Like I think about it a lot actually, because people ask me, you know, obviously I'm not doing this for the money. I don't make any money doing this. Unfortunately, you know, playing pro and then also the broadcasting that I do, it's yes, I want to advance the sport, and I want to advance and allow women in the future to be able to have opportunities that, you know, I didn't have. And it kind of made me think about when I was playing this summer with the Vibe and Ryan Moore, our owner, you know, telling us all of these amazing plans that he has for us and like what he sees in the future. And it kind of made me think of, like, you know, A League of Their Own, like how they kind of started that. And now like, you know, women are able to do so many awesome things, you know, just because of those women. And so it's awesome to think about that could potentially be me in the future, you know, with pro softball or with, you know, women in broadcasting. And it's one of the main reasons, why I keep doing it.
I love it. And again, I just had to, typically we make it a thing where it should just be known. It should just be athlete, male or female. And that's our candy stick. We are hot, passionate about that. There's not a difference in our opinion, male and female. It doesn't matter. You're an athlete, you're a broadcaster, you're an elite specialist in your craft, and I'm gonna let that soapbox go, Dan, because I could go for days on that. That's how I feel, man. So I'm gonna transition before I get hot into the collar, because they know we talk about this a lot, man. My kids are they're gonna be president one day, I'm telling you. So it's like it's just gonna happen, right? So it's you know, our girls, we want them to feel that same respect. So I'm gonna transition a little bit to a segment now. Hopefully, in all the work you've done, we try to make it to where you've never had a segment like this. Okay, so Dana and I, first and foremost, we bet on this. We have a little segment, Caylan, called Rapid Fire. I slightly told you about it, but not deep. Now, imagine our fans are great. We keep it PG, but imagine anything's possible. Time doesn't exist. People could be alive or dead, past or present, celebrities. Anything's possible, okay? And these questions are meant to, like, you have to pick one, no matter what it is. You have to pick and you have to answer one. Kind of a Rorschach personality question. Questions about you, okay? Now the winner gets lunch provided by the loser. So Dan, you ready? You got your picks?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a lot of catching up to do, Caylan. That's why I have to take a breath here. I got a lot of ground to make up on Josh here.
So let's just say for season 2, out of 160 episodes, I am owed 130 lunches. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. So a whole lot of ramens. Okay. So I got a little bit of a lead here. So first question, you're called up 2024. Everybody watched it last year, and I can't wait. You're going to be calling the Women's College World Series. We're just going to call it. You're back. You're expanding your craft and all that. But what they don't tell you is you have to make a very grand entrance. You have to show up in a very unique way to make your mark on the whole broadcasting platform. So you have two options. A, just like you saw, if you haven't watched it on the new Mission Impossible, how he just drives that motorcycle off a cliff with a parachute. You have to drive a motorcycle off of a ramp and land at the broadcasting booth singing Gagali Masmali. That's one, okay? Or B, you have to ride a bull in through the gate singing a song by Elvis all the way up to the broadcaster's booth. So the motorcycle with Gagali Masmali or the bull riding Elvis song, which one are you going with?
This is kind of easy. Bull riding Elvis.
Okay, let's go. I had that one. You have that one? Okay.
For sure. Do I have to explain? I love it. Or
no, you're good. It's good. You don't have to explain.
Okay, cool.
It's probably better if you don't. Let's not explain it.
Okay.
I love it. So question 2. So Dane, we're tied on that one. So next question. World Series, we're going to transition to MLB. You know, as like I talked about, you're going to be a celebrity guest. You're going to throw the first pitch at the first game of the World Series this year. And what they don't tell you is you don't get to use a baseball or a softball. You have 2 items, Dane. You have 2 items you have to use. Again, our fans are great. Option 1, you have to throw the first pitch with a snowball, or B, throw the first pitch with an apple pie. Which one are you going with?
Apple pie.
Dang it! I had a snowball, Dane.
Oh, dang it!
You gotta throw the apple pie. Nothing more American than apple pie.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Exactly.
Dang it. Okay. So next question. Next question. You're also we're going to transition a little bit as we're kind of jumping around different sports and all that. You're going back to opening day for Vibes. You're pitching, right? What they don't tell you is every time the ump calls a strike against you, you have to do one of these two things. Every time he calls a strike, you have to dispute it. If anything's possible, the rules are not existent. You have to either A, challenge the strike call by playing tug of war with the ump, or B, challenge the ump by playing paper, rock, scissors. Which one are you going with?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Got it. Okay. I have that one, Dane. I am 2 for 3. How about you, Dane?
I'd tug of war. You gotta.
Gotcha.
I hate tug of war.
Let's go. Can you see that? It's like strike, and you're sitting there kind of just going through the mud with them. You're not going to see it. It'd be awesome. I love it. Two more. So next question. Team builder. You're taking the vibe. You're going out. Hey guys, let's go do a little team builder thing. And the way that they're going to set the roster, set the starting lineup 1 through 9. The way they're going to do it is everyone has to play each other in one of these 2 video games, and you get to pick one of these 2 video games. Are you going with Mario Kart, or are you going with Diddy Kong Racing? Which one are you going with?
Mario Kart.
Dang it, I didn't have that one. I didn't, man. I thought I had you based off of the age and all that. Man, dang, I'm slipping,
Mario
Dane.
Kart,
Oh,
Dane, you have that one, Dane?
Oh yeah, Mario Kart Rainbow Road. Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
Rainbow Road is. I
did not have that one, man. Dang it. Okay, well, I'm going to bounce back here. Dane, you're beating me. You have 3, I got 2. So here we go. I'm going to try to tie it. Let's go. So last one for you of the rapid fire, okay? So celebrity thing, and you get a chance to do kind of a fundraiser, right? You're raising money at the Vibe for your favorite charity. What they don't tell you is you have to play a game of Celebrity Red Rover, okay? So you get to pick 1 or 2 people, and who you're going against, what they don't tell you, is Batista from the WWF or WWE and Triple H, the big bulky guys. And your teammate to do Red Rover against them is either A, Brie Larson from I think she's from she's the Miss Marvel girl. So you get to be Brie Larson.
Captain America.
The girl. You get Brie Larson, or you get to choose Angelina Jolie as your Red Rover mate. Which one you going with?
Oh man,
I stumped her, Dane. Stumped her.
I feel like they're the same, and like you couldn't have given me someone muscular. I'm gonna choose.
You gotta pick one.
I'm gonna choose Captain Marvel. I'm gonna go with Brie Larson.
I had it, Dane. We tied you. Dane, did you have that one?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dang it. Okay, Dane, you got me, man.
Gotta go with Captain Marvel.
Man, okay, Dane. Well, thank you for doing that. Just a little, hopefully in segments that you've done with interviews, you haven't had some stuff like that. So I hope that was a little different for you.
No, that was awesome. I love that.
Awesome. Well, Dane, I'll give it back to you for the last segment, Dane.
On this segment, Caylan, we call it open mic. We like to open the floor to our guests to, let them tell our listeners, our younger listeners that aspire to be in your shoes one day. Is there a philosophy that you've kind of carried, or maybe even a mantra that you've carried through your softball and sports and now your broadcasting career that kind of helps you get to that next level, that kind of keeps you going and working and pushing, that you can maybe give to some of our younger listeners to help them on their journey as well?
Definitely. This was something that I thought about a lot when I was a kid. Well, I guess when I was in high school, and, when I really started working hard at pitching, and I wanted it to be my number one thing, and I wanted to be the best at it, was there's always going to be someone who works harder than you. And so that was something that I would tell myself, when I started to get tired, or, when I didn't want to do that extra rep, is like, there's someone out there who did do that extra rep. There's someone out there who's, just working harder than you are. And so that was something that I always thought about. And then once I got into college, two things that I would think about. One of them was, I don't know if you've seen the video of Kobe Bryant talking about fear, but basically said, or failure. Basically he said, what is failure? Failure doesn't exist. And that was something that I had to really kind of think about, because when I first got into college, I was very results oriented. I wasn't process oriented. And so, I would allow myself to get just really overcome by failure. And I had to eventually switch that mindset into it's not a failure. It's an opportunity to learn. And instead of, allowing yourself to get put down by the failures. Think of it as, okay, you know, I didn't get it today, but I'm gonna come back out and I'm gonna try again tomorrow. And then if I don't get it tomorrow, I'll come back out and try again the next day. So looking at everything as a learning opportunity. And then lastly, the last one I have a lot was Tom Brady. And he said that, you know, he feels, you know, confidence from his preparation. And so that was something that because I struggle, you know, kind of with like anxiety and things like that. And, you know, kind of the negative words like, oh my gosh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. And so I never allowed myself to be able to think about that. You know, I put in the work in practice, and I put in the work in the extra days and the extra reps to feel confident that I was prepared. And, you know, watching the film and doing all of those things. And that's something that I've really tried to carry over with me, especially in the pros, because, you know, if you don't feel confident that you're prepared out there, you're probably going to get beat up. And so that's really what I've kind of held on to, is making sure that I get everything that I need to get in order to be successful.
Man, I'm making notes here, Dane, and as I try to close that, because it's so much knowledge. I wrote this down too, because we write notes. What I'm hearing from you is this: hard work is the beginning. That's the beginning, right? I keep hearing that from you, and it's like that's the starting point. Everybody can do it if you have talent, but when you take someone like yourself pro, and I can't keep going back to how you mentioned with the 1 through 9 hole, it's like it's all the same, right? Like when you're pitching against them, everybody's doing it. So how do you set yourself apart? Okay, they did 100 reps, I'm gonna do 105, right? Those kind of things, right? So and I keep going back to that. Dane, we tell our kids all the time from that 12, 14, 16 U age, practice really is a difference maker, like you said, you know. So I think it's great, Caylan, as Dane and I always say, the next generation of athletes in great hands. It's good to know whether it's an elite, I'm talking celebrated softball celebrity like yourself, or a 10U player, the message has to be the same. You can't, you have to outwork your opponent every single time, you know? So I love that. Definitely. Wow. Caylan, I'm a little bit shocked at how speechless I am, because usually I talk a lot. So listening to you absorbing and all that. So definitely. Dane can attest. I talk his ear off. We prep all the time. So Caylan, I hope you know this. Let it be known, the first of many. Please, being part of the alum, please make it a point to come back. We want you back at some point. Definitely. And even, you know, again, if we could somehow do a satellite thing, we'd love to have you call one of our games. I'll make it happen. So we'd love that, you know.
I would love that.
That'd be so cool. Yeah. We can make it happen satellite.
My two Vibe teammates, you know, Neely Herring and Zoe Jones. Like, I would love to come up there and see Zoe.
Man.
Be up there. So that'd be awesome. Let me know.
We definitely loved watching Neely play up here in Wichita State. She was great.
That's so cool. Yeah. And even if we had to do a remote, like we could satellite you in. Sometimes Zane and I do that.
There you go.
He's in Iowa calling nationals. We'll satellite in for games. So that's so cool. We'll definitely make that happen. We want to make sure, you know, to stay in touch. We'll get this out as soon as we can. And Caylan, I can't say enough thank yous. I know you're a busy lady, and thank you for helping us spread that message of how we feel about softball and female athletics. We just can't say enough as I get on that hot box. Thank you for being a great ambassador for the sport and being a part of history. It's amazing to get to catch up with you. It means a lot. Okay. So.
Wow. Thank you guys. I mean, you're making me feel so like,
that's true.
Inside.
It's all true.
We can't wait to hear more of your broadcasts and you doing color in the future with as you find your, I guess, your footing and your network that you're going to be on. So we can't wait for that and to celebrate it as well.
Thank you guys. You've been amazing. I've loved being on this so much. Thank you.
Awesome. We will definitely be in touch. We'll be sharing it. We'll be streaming it. Caylan, we'll catch up soon. We'll get you back tonight, and you have a great rest of your evening. Okay. It was great meeting you.
All right. Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you, friend.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. See ya. So Dane, I'm telling you, man, I meant everything I said, man. Watching her play, it's contagious. What can you say? What can you say about that? You know?
Yeah. I mean, like we always say, I mean, the ones that do things great, it's great to see them move on in their life, whether it be like her to, she's doing double duty, pro softball and also getting into the broadcast side of it. They're always driven, you know, their drive doesn't just stop at the sport they play. It continues on through life because they've developed that drive and that discipline to keep pushing no matter what they try in their life. And it's a good message to show the younger viewers and anybody for that matter, that if you have that drive, you're going to be successful, because that discipline to do it takes you to greater heights.
Man, that was fun. I tell you what, man, we will have her back. And I felt like I was talking to an old friend just for hours.
Yeah.
You know, we could have went all day long. So the confidence, and I really mean what I say, that there should not be a difference. There should not, and I'm so glad we're helping to close that gap. I don't care if it's male or female. There shouldn't be a difference in you as an athlete. I am so grateful we're going to be a part of history and watch that gap close as it should. So thank you, Caylan, for being that great ambassador of the sport. I meant everything we said. I am passionate about that. I know you are too, Dane. But definitely. Speaking of passion, we got one more, Dane. We're only halfway done. So we got one more. Our friend, one of the just inspirational coaches of the decade, I feel like. Shippy's coming on next, man. So I don't even want to waste any time because we got to get to it. Caylan, thank you. Shippy's up next. So we'll take a quick breather and we'll get on the air with Shippy. So as we always say, don't forget that we love you. And Dane,
thank you for listening.